This is our ISO 9000 project in Operations Management 441, Spring Quarter 2015, Team RamRod. The first thing we're going to talk about is a brief background of ISO. Standards are important in international trade because incongruent standards can be barriers to trade, giving some organizations advantages in certain areas of the world. Standards provide clear, identifiable references that are recognized internationally and encourage fair competition and free market economies. Standards facilitate trade through enhanced product quality and reliability, greater compatibility, greater use of maintenance, and reduced costs. ISO covers a wide variety of standards. Brief background continued. The organization, which is today known as ISO, began in 1926 as the International Federation of the National Standardizing Associations, then known as the ISA. This organization focused heavily on mechanical engineering. It was disbanded in 1942 during the Second World War, but was reorganized under the current name ISO in 1946. Even the name of the organization is standardized. The name ISO is not an acronym, but was derived from the Greek word isos, meaning equal. This name eliminates any confusion that could result from the translation of International Organization for Standardization into different languages, which would lead to different acronyms. Some more brief background. ISO is a voluntary organization whose members are recognized standard authorities, each one representing a specific country. The bulk of the work is done by 2,700 technical committees, subcommittees, and working groups around the globe. The American National Standard Institute, or the ANSI, is the United States representative. The American National Standards Institute is a private, non-profit organization that oversees the development of voluntary consensus standards for products, services, processes, systems, and personnel in the United States. ISO 9000 Brief History. ISO 9000 was first published in 1987. The ISO 9000 family of quality management systems standards is designed to help organizations ensure that they meet the needs of customers and other stakeholders while meeting statutory and regulatory requirements related to a given product. ISO 9000 deals with the fundamentals of quality management systems, including the 7 management principles upon which the family of standards is based that will be discussed later on in this project. ISO 9001 deals with the requirements that organizations wishing to meet the standard must fulfill. ISO 9000 is one of the most used quality management systems worldwide. Some hate it, some love it, and you'll see why. On this slide, we are going to discuss the purpose of the ISO 9000 series. The ISO 9000 family addresses various aspects of quality management and contains some of ISO's best-known standards. The standards provide guidance and tools for companies and organizations who want to ensure that their products and services consistently meet customers' requirements and that the quality is consistently improved. Now we will discuss the purpose of each section of series. ISO 9000:2005 covers the basic concepts and language. ISO 9001:2008 sets out the requirements of a quality management system. ISO 9004:2009 focuses on how to make a quality management system more efficient and effective. ISO 19011:2011 sets out guidance on internal and external audits of quality management systems. Oh man, okay babe, here we go. How does ISO 9000 work? The ISO 9000 series is designed to be used as a standard on which organizations can improve trade by creating, refining, and improving their key business processes. To obtain a certification in ISO 9000, an organization must first decide on developing its own quality management system, or QMS, based on the ISO 9000 requirements. The standard itself will help regulate the processes involved not just in the creation of the QMS, but also. We will now discuss the 7 management principles in an ISO 9000 series. 1. Focus on customers and interested parties. 2. Provide leadership for your organization. 3. Engage and involve your people. 4. Use a process approach. 5. Encourage improvement. 6. Use evidence to make decisions. And 7. Manage your corporate relationships. Process-based quality management system. A quality management system, or QMS, is a set of interrelated or interacting elements that organizations use to formulate quality policies and quality objectives and to establish the processes that are needed to ensure that policies are followed and objectives are achieved. These elements include structures, programs, practices, procedures, plans, rules, roles, responsibilities, relationships, contracts, agreements, documents, records, methods, tools, techniques, technologies, and lastly, resources. Next, we will discuss a few possible processes. These processes include service acceptance process, product acceptance process, and management review process. Here are some of the identified subsections. 4.1. Understand your organization and its unique context. 4.2. Clarify the needs and expectations of interested parties. 4.3. Define the scope of your quality management system. And 4.4. Establish a QMS that complies with this standard. We will now attempt to interpret subsection 8.3 translated into plain English. This section can get pretty wordy, so I'm just going to read off the top bullet. Section 8.3.2 Plan product and service design and development activities. 8.3.1 Create a design and development process when necessary. 8.3.3 Determine product and service design and development inputs. 8.3.4 Specify how design and development process will be controlled. 8.3.5 Clarify how design and development outputs will be produced. 8.3.6 Review and control all design and development changes. To wrap things up, we are going to discuss some criticisms of the ISO 9000 series. The compliance process is costly and time-consuming. Lots of administration is needed to implement it. Adhering to ISO 9000 makes processes more consistent. To some proponents of continuous improvement, it also makes it harder to improve and readapt the processes. Here's a quote. When all you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. It has been argued that it may not be appropriate to apply a process such as ISO 9000 to a field requiring creativity, such as software engineering, which is more analogous to designing factories than to operate in a factory. Lastly, we are going to discuss the 1994 criticism. 1994 emphasized quality assurance via preventative actions. Instead of just checking final product, it continued to require evidence of compliance with documented procedures. As with the first edition, the downside was that companies tended to implement its requirements by creating shelf loads of procedure manuals and becoming burdened with the ISO bureaucracy. Since 2012, the current standard has been under revision. A next version is expected to be published in the end of 2015, and it will replace the current version while addressing the problems. The auditing process will be addressed by the conformance auditing. Tell me what to do. Show me where it says that. Prove that this is what happened. Thank you for listening to our presentation. We hope to talk to you again soon.